Hi guys, I'm Jenny Maz here for Studio Wrap, speaking with Cary Elwes for Stranger Things Season 3. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start out by talking about the new character that you will be playing, Mayor Kline, on Season 3. What can you tell us about Larry Kline?
Well, it's the first time we're meeting the mayor of Hawkins, and turns out he's a rather self-centered individual, and he's one of these politicians that seems to be very full of himself and not always honest, and a little bit demeaning of others, perhaps. I think he's, like I said, he's a bit smarmy. Yeah.
Makes sense for the mayor of a town
like
Hawkins.
Right?
What can you tell us about how he might relate to all the weird happenings in the town and what he knows? Because like you said, we haven't met him before.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about at all, Jenny. He's focused on the 4th of July celebrations. It's interesting, the Duffers wrote this character, and I had them, I send a questionnaire to the directors I work with, and they filled it out, and I read it. And I said, this politician, I go, is it anything like, it seems to be a lot like Trump. They go, no, it's not Trump. It's just somebody who happens to be blonde and, full of himself and likes the sound of his own voice. And turns out they wrote that he takes over the 4th of July celebration. This is long before the president decided to do that. But this character in this season decides to take over the 4th of July celebrations for himself, because he thinks he can run it better than anybody else. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a big focus for a mayor in a town where all these other things happen.
The most important thing to him is how he's perceived. Like a lot of politicians.
Got it. What can you tell us maybe is different in tone, especially because it's set during the summer?
Well, it's love, love is still in the air. A lot of the kids are starting to have feelings towards one another, as you know. Hopper and Joyce are getting closer together, and it's really about all of the characters are now entering a certain age, certainly from the kids' standpoint in their lives, where their focus is different now than it was in season 1 and 2. And what's beautiful about the Duffers is they're able to combine terrifying action with enormously brilliant emotional content. I mean, you're so emotionally involved with these characters that when something happens to any of them, you really feel for them, and that's a gift,
All right, does the mayor have any involvement with the mall? Is he a supporter of the mall?
Well, he definitely helped to sell it. That's his voice on the commercial you see for the mall.
Starcourt Mall is one of the finest shopping facilities in America and beyond.
Again, a man who believes that, the duties of a mayor extend to doing voiceover for commercials for malls. But it's an incredible mall too. We took over an abandoned mall in Atlanta, and the production team got in there and redressed it, and I swear to God, the detail of the stores that you could walk into and buy things, it was just incredible. Like, they had the storeroom stacked with product, stuff you'll never see on film, but just because it gave you the feel of the authenticity, it was just incredible.
Yeah, a big part of the show has been how it's set in the 80s, and that's the nostalgia factor there. So growing up in that time period, what was it like to go back and be set in this world?
Well, I realized how sad it was that that malls are closing, thanks to and nothing against Amazon, because I'm a fan of that too, but there's one thing, it's a disconnect to buy something online and then just have it show up. But to actually go somewhere and have it be a social event where kids can go and watch movies and shop and hang out and that part of a culture, I think that's sadly missing today, because everybody's on their phone, and there was a time when people went out and actually hung out and chatted rather than texted or selfied or all that stuff,